I get people who come in and they're like, yeah, so my unique thing is I help them with their messaging. And I'm like, oh my God, you and every other coach on the internet, love. Like, your positioning is this perfect blend of your knowledge, your IP, and also your personality. When you make a baby of those three things, you just get this incredibly unique proposition that the market hasn't seen before.
People are scared to charge more because they've had bad experiences in the past, like something's happened to them in their life and someone said they suck or they're not worth it or whatever it is. And there's like a fear of rejection or a fear that they won't pay that or a fear of like, I'm going to go broke if I don't make some money. I think that like, if I were to summarize it in a nutshell, it is a fear. Today we're talking about why your offer isn't selling and how to fix it. We're going to dive into the real reasons, give you guys tons of value today. If you are new around here, hit that subscribe button, okay? If you're on audio, hit the subscribe. YouTube, hit the subscribe. We love all the new subscribers we get. Steph, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You are pumped. You're like, we're going to do some magic today.
Yeah, I want to make some fucking money.
Like it. Let's do it.
That's why we're here on the podcast today. We'll start off with personal updates. So this morning, I was in the gym. I was working hard. To be honest, I was looking pretty pumped. And it was good. And then out of the corner of my eye, I could see this creep looking at me. And they were so fucking creepy. And I noticed it was my wife. And she was mad dogging me. And what I find even funnier is Steph was mad dogging me in the gym. And if you don't know what mad dogging means, it's basically looking at someone like sexually aggressively. Steph was looking at me like that in the gym this morning. And then she sends me a photo of myself 2 hours later in the barber shop. I didn't even know she was there. She was also watching me get my hair cut. What the fuck's going on? Are you mad? Are you following me? Are you mad dogging me?
You're getting a little bit too hot, if I'm honest. And so I just thought, eyes on, keep my eyes on you, make sure that you're not. No, literally, I was
Any other woman looked at me. You fucking bastard.
Yeah.
She
was going to know. I was getting my nails done, and then all of a sudden I see Tim across the road in the barbershop, and I'm like, no way, it's going to be the funniest thing ever if I take a photo of him and send it to him.
Yeah, it was.
I've been creeping you out.
Yeah, it was creepy. Yeah. It was creepy today.
How nice to be so desired by your life.
It was pretty nice. I feel desired right now. I've got my dog Felix on my feet as we were recording this episode as well. Yeah. So maybe if you're on YouTube, you can see that.
Yeah, I don't think you can see them, but they're super cute. They're both in here.
I got his ear under my foot. It's so cute. Steph, what's happening with you?
Your personal updates are always so fun and funny, and mine are always like so deep. And like I have lots of really big thoughts and feelings. Recently, I've undergone a bit of a personality upgrade, I think.
Have you?
I've been happier.
Yeah, you have been.
I've been more motivated. I've been more driven. I've been more excited. Overall, I feel like I've had a new energy bunny battery plugged in. Kind of like, like a Duracell bunny. I feel more energized. And prior to this happening, it's only been probably the last like 3 weeks. Prior to this happening, I thought and you thought that I needed more mindset work. And I was reflecting on that thought the other day. And I was like, I knew I needed something, but I didn't know exactly what it was that I needed. And here's the conclusion that I came to. I think there's a place for mindset work, and I've done a lot of mindset work, and I spent a lot of money on mindset coaches, on hypnotherapists, on all sorts of talk therapy.
Yep.
Sometimes you don't need more mindset coaching. Sometimes what you need is performance coaching. Yep. And that was the thing that has actually unlocked this new energy and level of drive, has been that we have recently hired a new mentor. And that mentor is a no bullshit, very, I would say, quasi-aggressive American dude who just will tell you if you're not fucking good enough. Yeah. And it was actually everything that I needed. And I've started listening to more podcasts again that are power-driven, that are motivation-driven, that are performance-driven rather than, soft and subtle. And I think sometimes if you're looking for an edge, sometimes it's mindset to, recalibrate your inner world, but sometimes you just need someone like an actual coach on the field yelling at you, telling you to be better. And that's what's really shaped that for me.
I love that. So some people might know that, how crazy I am in comparison to me. How crazy is this dude? Paint the picture.
Yeah. It like, if you think Tim's crazy, this guy's like level 100 and you're like level 10. It's like,
I'm like a mouse.
Yeah, he's very crazy and I love it. And at first I was like, oh, it's a lot, actually. At first I was like, oh, I'm not sure it's a lot. Now I absolutely love it. And I think that we are quite performance coachy for our clients. Yeah. But this is a whole different level and a whole different game. So cool. Yeah, it's been awesome.
It's definitely made me a better coach as I reflect on it. Sure. Like just to pump people up instead of like, always just fucking hold their hand. He's maybe a bit more of like a punch to the back to them than hold the hand.
I think that there's something really powerful about having a coach that wants you to be better enough that they'll tell it to you straight and that they'll say it in a way that's no bullshit. You know, I think there's something really powerful in that. And I know that you give that to a lot of our coaches, to a lot of our clients.
So today we're talking about why your offer isn't selling. There's basically 3 parts to this. We're going to jam on each section here, and I want you guys to take away that if your offer isn't selling, there is hope for you today. So we're going to go through the first one, which is clarity of promise. So let's just start out by saying if people don't understand what they're actually buying in the first 5 seconds, they're probably not going to buy it. This might seem like a really simple and no-brainer. We say this to our clients all the time when they come in Success School, but like the offer matters and the clarity of what you do matters. So Steph, do you want to tell us about a couple of the main teaching points on this?
Yeah.
Then we can jam on some questions.
Yeah. So the reason that most offers fail is because the promise isn't clear or compelling. So what I mean by clear or compelling is it doesn't answer the 2 very simple questions that everybody wants to know when they're researching for whatever it is that they're researching for your offer. Your offer boils down to one line. It must say, what is this big result that you're going to get for me and why should I care about it effectively? Okay, so if your offer doesn't scream, this is the problem I'm going to solve for you and this is why solving that problem matters, you're not going to be able to sell it to anybody. And so, or you will, but it's going to feel like dragging shit uphill. And so the number one problem that we see when coaches come into our programs is that they have these really nice, well thought out offers that just don't say anything. Like I have to literally ask 100% of clients who come into our program, what's the outcome and what's this offer going to do for me? And if they can't answer that, we have to go all the way back to the start and re-look at their niche and re-look at their messaging and re-look at their positioning. Why do you think that most offers flop out of the gate? Like, so for most new coaches on the market or coaches probably around $8,000 to $10,000 a month developing offers, why are they not working?
I don't think they're going hard enough in marketing them, to be honest. Like, I think that's most of it. Like, once, like, outside of if you got a good offer, I think a lot of people like put up a post and then they're like, hey, buy my shit. And if no one buys my shit, they're like, oh, no one wants it, you know, and they just haven't done a good job marketing it. So I feel like there has to be a really well thought out marketing plan to this, not just like posting on organic. But if you are posting on organic, full fucking send the post. Like, post it 5 times, 6 times, 10 times. Put it on your stories, put it on your personal Facebook, email it out there, run ads, like get the offer every single place. There's just a bit of a lack of like marketing the actual offer. Steph, what's one line every offer needs to actually sell? Like, what's the main crux? Like, what's the thing that an offer has to have, in your opinion, or something that's really underdone on offers?
Yeah, 100% it's the promise. I'll give you an example of somebody who I literally had a one-to-one call with one of our clients this week. And she helps allied health practices to effectively grow. Yep. And she was like, I help them build lifestyle freedom.
Yep.
And I was like, cool. I don't know what that means. That could mean 100 things to 100 different people. We need to specify it. I was like, when most of them come to you, what do they want? And she was like, well, they want something like around a 6-figure business. I was like, okay, cool. But what's the lifestyle freedom aspect? She was like, well, they'd like it in 3 days a week. And I was like, that's your promise. A 6-figure practice in 3 days per week. And everything that we do is helping them to get there, right? And there's different aspects of that. Obviously, they've got the way they set up their structures. They're going to, sell more programs to create more IP so they can have more financial freedom. There's lots of different ways that she helps them do that. But without that promise, she just went from like, I help practices get lifestyle freedom to I help practices build 6-figure practices in under 3 days a week. It's so much more clear, compelling, and sexy. People come to her and they're going to be like, oh, that makes so much sense. And then the key here is to take that promise, that sentence, that thing that you say that you're going to do. We help coaches get to 50K months. And then put it everywhere. So it should be on your website. It should be like every post should be about that. Every podcast episode should be relating to that at some level. Today is about why your offer isn't selling, how to get it to 50K months. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the episode. Everything should be pointing back to that same thing. I think that's the mistake that most entrepreneurs make when they launch offers into the world. On the topic of promise, what does make a promise go from boring to irresistible?
What makes a promise go from boring to irresistible is I get X result in X timeline without XYZ. So usually the X result should be somewhat tangible. Like, I know that some people have like mindset offers or offers that are pretty hard to put into words on what the tangible outcome on it is. And then in X time frame is, I was speaking to a friend of ours, Ryan, this morning, and he's an online coach as well. And he was saying, hey man, I want to run like a 12-month program. And I said to him, dude, like, people don't want to fucking work on shit for 12 months. Like, they want it done yesterday. Like, I was like, make it in 3 months and condense it into 3 months. And I said, instead of your 12-month offer, I get this result in 90 days. And then you got to think about everyone out there that you're marketing to has tried stuff. And tried stuff they've hated. The famous one that I always say, or not the famous one, but the one I always talk about is dancing reels or dancing TikToks. And it's like, I help coaches go from 10 to 50K months in 90 days without dancing reels, selling your soul, or starting an OnlyFans. Like, if you had some specificity on what the actual promise was in terms of outcome, timeline, and then without all the shit they actually hate, that transforms an offer from being like, I help you get fit and healthy, or I help you make money, to like something super tangible that people want. Steph, so there are people out there, and we'll talk about maybe a little bit of offer validation here. And they've got an offer, they've been running, and they've got a purpose, and they've got a promise, and they've got these types of things. How do they actually know if their offer is good? Like, what would you say would be a criteria for, like, yes, you've got a good offer, let's put heaps of juice into marketing this thing?
Yeah, I think if you're an entrepreneur right now and you've sold 10, 15 of these things, you've got proof of offer, right? Like, your offer works. Your offer's got legs, 10 people have bought it. I mean, I think we use 3 as a validating offer, but I think the entrepreneurs that are listening to this podcast are a bit further ahead than that. So I would say if you've sold it to 10 or 15 people, you've probably got a pretty sound offer. The way to know if your offer is actually built to scale or to continue selling is if you have more demand than you are able to provide, right? If you have more demand than supply. So if you are currently right now listening to this episode and you're like, I am at capacity, I have like a wait list of people who are signing up to work with me, you got a great offer. Do not worry. Offer is not your issue. Scalability is your problem. And that's something that, we'll talk about. I think we'll talk about that on next week's episode. Yeah. But if you're right now putting your offer out there, or you're getting on sales calls, or you're having DM conversations with people and they're like, oh, that sounds good. Yeah, maybe next month or maybe soon, or you're getting ghosted, your offer's not good. It's not compelling enough. It's not clear enough what it's going to do for people. And so it has to change. And we have seen offers go from, hey, I help practices get lifestyle businesses, to I help business owners have 6-figure practices in 3 days a week, that it just takes someone from 20K a month stagnant to $50,000, $60,000 a month really quickly, just from nailing that one thing, because now everyone wants it. And so this is one of those, it's like a sentence that's going to change your life. Like, this sentence will literally change everything about the way that you do business. It brings in your marketing, it brings in your sales cycles, it updates your website, it makes all of your content so easy to make. When you nail this one sentence in your offer, this promise, it really unlocks a whole new level for you.
All right, guys. So if you want some more help fixing your promise, send us a DM on Instagram. We'd love to help you on that, especially if you're an online coach and you want to scale to 50K months. We're going to move into the second part of this, which is our positioning and proof. So positioning is the big differentiator, but why you don't want to sound like every other coach. If you sound like every other coach on the internet, you're just going to blend in, you're not going to get anywhere, your marketing is going to fall over, and you're just not going to get any other interest. So you really need to position yourself well, and that's what this section is about. We're also going to jump into some proof. So proof in 2025, 2026 is super important. I know proof can be faked. Funny story about that, actually. We were at a mastermind a couple of years ago, and there was someone selling PR, and they were giving all this proof about all these people they worked with, and we were about to sign up. And I said to Steph, do your due diligence and, reach out and look at these people. And it turns out the people that they were saying were proof were actually made up, and they never actually worked with them. So Steph messaged a bunch of their proof or testimonials, and they were like, I haven't worked with that person. It's fucking crazy. So don't be that person. I know if you're listening to this episode, you're probably not that person anyway, but we're going to talk about how to stand out, how to make yourself unique, and how to stack trust so that it kills any objections that you have. So Steph, why do you think so many coaches sound exactly the same when they're trying to be different? Like, what is that about?
It's so common. Like, I get people who come in and they're like, yeah, so my unique thing is I help them with their messaging. And I'm like, oh my God, you and every other coach on the internet, love. Like, if you can't articulate how the thing that you do or the way that you do it is different, if you haven't spent enough time, honestly, pouring your IP and your personal background, it's like your positioning is this perfect blend of your knowledge, your IP, and also your personality. When you make a baby of those 3 things, you just get this incredibly unique proposition that the market hasn't seen before. But the reason that so many coaches sound exactly the same is because when they're doing their due diligence, when they're doing their market research, they start following people who are in their niches, and everyone's using the same, and it becomes like an echo chamber of like everyone's saying this. And then when you go to write your own, you start to think in the language that you're constantly seeing. You don't mean to replicate what they're up to and what they're saying, but you just naturally do. And it's such a holdback on your growth to sound like everybody else in your niche. Like one, yes, go do your market research. And then two, block and mute and get all of that shit out of your ecosystem, because you don't need to be seeing it. Like, it's super unhelpful. And so if you truly want to stand out in your market, it is worth your while to do a deep amount of self-study on what makes you different, your personality, why you even chose to do the thing that you do, and then find a unique blend and mechanism and way of getting your clients a result that incorporates all of those three things. Because what do you think actually makes someone the obvious choice? Like, so let's say that we get that unique mechanism, all that sort of stuff dialed in. What then makes somebody the obvious choice in a crowded market? Like, when you're shopping around, what do you look for?
What I look for is like people I gel with on a personal level, to be honest. So there is that personal brand component to it. That's by far probably the most important thing for me. Like, as a shopper right now, it's like, I don't want to work with a coach that is incongruent for me or doesn't share any of the values that I do. Secondly, outside of that is like the whole trust piece. Like, do they get the results they say they do? And then who has worked with them? There's that like level 2 on the trust thing that we watched the other day on the chart, which is like, do I know someone that has worked with this person that can vouch for them as well? That would be my second. Do I get on with them? Do I have someone that vouches with them? And then do I like the promise? So the promise of the person we've recently signed up is, I hope you get to $1 million a month. I want to get to $1 million a month. So it's a fucking no-brainer for me.
Talk us through, because we just spent $120,000 on a coach for a year.
Yep.
And that's the minimum investment. Like, there's going to be a lot more investment with this coach because we have to fly to Miami and do a heap of other stuff. So how did you make that decision? Like, because it was a fast decision.
Yeah.
And I say you, but we made the decision. But we went from not really knowing who this person was to knowing them.
Yeah.
And then spending $120,000 in DM.
Yeah.
In a matter of 24 hours.
Yeah.
Talk me through what you had to look at to know that that was a yes decision for you.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. So, we spent $120K on a coach, and the reason I spent $120K on a coach is because I was watching their YouTube videos for quite a long time. So I was getting indoctrinated in the process and the mission in what they're up to and in the promise. And you know, when you watch someone on YouTube, you just know they're not full of shit. There's just something about it. You can see how they talk. You can see how they present. You can see how they carry themselves. You can see these things. I'm like a really good judge of character, so I just knew it was like going to be a good fit for us. It wasn't a matter of like if, but it was like when. So I always knew I was going to work with said coach, but it was like at what point. And we got to the point where I was like, I think we're ready to work with XYZ. And you were like, yep, cool, I trust you. And Steph literally hadn't fucking heard of him.
Like, literally, this is a 24-hour decision for me.
Yeah.
Because I had never heard of this person. Yeah. And then you were like, hey, I think we're going to work with this coach because so-and-so just messaged us and said that he's thinking about working with this coach. And then I was like, who is this dude? And you're like, I think we should buy it. And I was like, I don't even know who this person is. Yeah. But I watched a couple of YouTubes. And then we made a yes decision. And I think that I want to be really clear about why I think that it made, like, this person was the obvious choice in a crowded market. Yeah. There are tons of business coaches we could have gone with at this level. There are shitloads, honestly. Yeah. And there are shitloads of coaches. If you're listening to this episode right now and you're considering working with Success School, there's a ton in our market as well, right? So how does somebody actually become the obvious choice in a crowded niche? Well, one, shared value, so we can see that in the YouTubes. Yeah. Two, proof, which is, you know, in his YouTubes, he has his clients who are making $1 million a month, and they talk about how they're doing it. So he says he helps people make $1 million a month. There's proof that there are lots of people that are doing that in his world. Yeah. We have shared values with him. It was an easy yes. The offer was an easy yes. It was a cool offer. It was an easy yes. And the timing was right. We were in the market for a new coach. It was time. So I think that when you are somebody listening to this episode right now and you're wanting to be the obvious choice in a crowded market, one, you need to stand out with a clear marketing messages. Like, I help 6-figure practices in 3 days a week, right? Mm-hmm. That's a clear marketing message. Two, you need proof that you do that thing everywhere, all over the place. Three, it must be easy to get started with you. It shouldn't be some huge rigmarole to get started with you. It should be simple to get started with you.
Super simple. So this is a really interesting question. Is proof more important than positioning, or the other way around? I'm keen to hear your take on this. Like, what do you think?
I think you need a strong position before you need proof.
That's fascinating. I'm the other way around.
Really?
Yeah.
To be fair, proof builds referrals, right? And referrals are the easiest people to sell.
Yeah.
But they're not that easy to sell. You knew about this person that we're working with because he was a referral, but that doesn't necessarily mean you buy from them straight away. So you can be referred and also not buy until the positioning kind of hits it right.
Yeah.
I don't know. You go.
Well, like, I think about a client of ours, Alice. I would say she wouldn't have the strongest positioning, and she's in fitness, but she has a lot of proof. So there's a lot of women on her stories looking crazy in before and afters, and I don't exactly know what her positioning or her statement is, but she shares a lot of proof, so I know she knows her shit.
That's true.
So I think about, like, in any example, if you saw even if you saw a business coach online, like on Instagram, we don't really follow any, but if you saw someone that was constantly posting like banger results, and you didn't actually know what they did, you'd be like pretty curious because you're like, fuck, they're posting some pretty crazy results.
That's true.
So I think positioning is, I say this all the time, I think positioning and messaging is the hardest thing to get right, especially in business. And it's taken us 2.5 years to get our current positioning. It's taken you like 6 years to get to this positioning. And I didn't even get there in my gym. Like, I never got to having a niche or a marketing statement or one message or whatever it was. Because, like, I didn't need it in that position I was at. But it was just so hard to pick and so hard to choose and so hard to niche myself. But, like, fascinating question.
So on that, let's say that proof is more powerful than positioning. How do you know if someone's BS then, right? Like, how do you know if it's smoke and mirrors and fake stripe statements and all sorts of nonsense that goes on in this industry, in all industries, really?
Yeah.
Fake testimonials that are being sent to each other, like to the person from themselves, you know, things like that. Like, shit goes down like that all the time. So how do you tell if someone's truly credible or if it's just smoke and mirrors?
Great question. And yeah, our industry, or the coaching industry, is like rife with this kind of stuff. And you mentioned that like a couple of things before. You need to really just check with someone who is in there and like get a referral and see how it is. But you need to also understand the referral you're getting. Is that someone that's likely to like really use the help that they're getting as well? Some people can get into coaching programs and work with coaches and online coaches and not have a good experience because they're not a good student on top of that. So you need to like understand that. Then you need to do like a thorough search. So like watch their YouTube videos, watch their podcasts, read their social media content, like Google them, like do all that type of stuff. Obviously see if they're a scammer or not. Like that's a good one. So check with people, check out their scammer, and then see if the results are aligned with you. And then do they have like some kind of money back, love it or leave it type offer? Like if you don't like it, if you don't get the results, can you leave without being locked into a 12-month contract? I can't even tell you the amount of clients that come to us or potential clients and they're like, hey, I'm working with this fucking terrible coach for this amount of time, so I can't start with Success School for 6 months. I'm really not getting anything and I'm having the worst experience ever with them. And I'm like, this goes on all the time.
It's so heartbreaking.
People getting locked into that stuff. Anything I missed on that?
No, that's exactly it. That's perfect.
Steph, do you want to bring us through our final section, pricing and packaging?
Yeah, so this is where most coaches honestly get stuck. They get stuck on their price tag. And I think this is like pricing is just such an interesting thing, you know, to get their prices. I literally was in Like-Minded Bitches Drinking Wine, the very prolific Facebook group the other day. And some lady was like, hey, how much would you guys pay for business consulting, like to talk about this stuff? And I was like, oh,
it's the worst place to take advice.
Literally the worst place to take advice. But secondly, not only is it the worst place to take advice, it's the worst way to figure out how to price your offer. Like, what will people pay me randomly without knowing who I am, without explaining what kind of results I get, without showing them my mechanism? What are people going to say? They're just going to pick a random number out of thin air that feels good that day. Like, you do not ask the market what will you pay. You figure out what your offer is worth for the outcomes that it gets, and then you price it according to the market after that and not the other way around. So the number one thing that we see with coaches, though, is actually it's mixed, but more now than anything, we see undercharging, underpricing themselves. Why are coaches so scared to charge more?
Yeah, honestly, I think people are scared to charge more because they've had bad experiences in the past. Like something's happened to them in their life and someone said they suck or they're not worth it or whatever it is. And there's like a fear of rejection or a fear that they won't pay that or a fear of like, I'm going to go broke if I don't make some money. So I think it's like, if I were to summarize it in a nutshell, it is a fear. The problem with carrying that fear into business is other people can smell the fear And then even if not like on a primal level, like I smell your fear, but they can like sense it. And if someone can feel the fear in you, they will subconsciously usually take advantage of that, and you end up getting not the fair end of the stick when it comes to business, which is an issue. Why do you think, like, you're probably more than me with the market we're in at the moment, like, why do you think they're scared of charging more?
I think that they just don't back themselves yet enough to deliver. And that's okay. But once you get the runs on the board and you've proven that you get your clients results, you need to increase your freaking prices. Like, that's just how it is. That's the game. And I think that we talk about, low ticket versus high ticket. We talk about it quite a lot. If you're in the coaching space, it's so much easier to package up your expertise and sell it at a higher price point than you think. Like, it is so much easier. You can make $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month with 10 to 20 clients, like at maximum, easy. And so figuring out what that perfect offer is and that perfect price point for your market. And again, that's so different. Like, for a fitness coach doing fitness coaching, it's a very different price point to somebody who is like a CFO packaging up a course to find $500,000 of hidden profit in a construction company. Like, those two offers are going to have wildly different price points because they have different audiences on the other end. And so you do have to match it, of course, to your audience. But what would you say makes an offer feel premium? Like, when you're buying something, if you're looking at like a cheaper version or a more expensive version, what are the signals that this is a premium offer, that it's going to match the kind of investment that maybe people are asking for?
We just spent $120K on a coach, and our previous was 60, so it's almost doubled. For me, I'm honestly just looking to spend more money to get more value from it. There's like a perception of like, hey, if I spend more money, it's going to be better and more valuable. So it was kind of like, well, this is double the price, so this is going to be double as good type vibe. So for me, it was like price was a big indicator of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's a big investment, and it's going to cause me to hustle, and which we have. So we signed up and we hustled our ass off. And I thought, in terms of like the two offers that we've recently signed up for, I probably from the outset couldn't distinguish too much on like the premium feel of the marketing or the message or the YouTube channel or anything like that. It was more so the experience, and the onboarding experience has been like improved on that. So the latest onboarding experience has been great. So
what would you say for someone in a earlier stage of business? Like, you can, like, so we're talking about the 1% coaches, right? Most people are never going to work with coaches like we work with. And so we're talking like the top end, right? The top 1% of coaches that are coaching coaches at this end, right? What about the mid-market, which is where most people play?
I think you need to have your content looking hot. So it has to be sharp, high quality, good cameraing, good angles, good lighting. Like, your branding has to be solid across the board. Your message has to be everywhere. It has to be like uniform colors. It has to be like tone. All that stuff has to be uniform to make your thing feel premium. And then when they get in your thing and they get in your coaching, does it match? Like, is everything the same, or do they get in and it's a bag of shit? So I think like from the outset of what you present and what you have on the continuity on the inside, they have to match.
Yes.
Hey, Steph, do you think pricing is a mindset thing or a strategy thing? Like, where does that sit for you?
I would say in almost all cases, pricing is a mindset game.
Okay.
And so if you're somebody that's sitting there right now thinking, I couldn't possibly increase my prices, or I can't charge my clients 10% more, or I feel really uncomfortable, adding more to my offer and my service to be able to increase my price point, that is everything to do with your ability to receive money than it is to, the actual, like, what your audience will pay. Okay. Yeah. You can find ways to increase your prices and find new pockets of audience that will pay your price point. I'm definitely not saying that we have made this mistake many times ourselves, where we've like doubled our prices in a very short period of time. Like, that would never be my recommendation for somebody looking to increase their pricing. But if the thought of increasing your prices by 10 or 15% to your current clients scares the heck out of you, that says more about your scarcity mindset, your fear around money, your fear around receivership, and your fear around feeling worthy than it does about actually playing the pricing game with your audience.
Yep.
And what's the fastest way to know that your pricing is wrong?
How you know your pricing is wrong? If you're getting more than 50% of people say yes on sales calls. If they're saying yes, then you know you're too cheap. And then you need to work your way up from there.
Yes.
Typically like 40 to 30% is like a good close rate.
Yeah.
And that's how you'll be knowing that you're maximizing your hours and earning the most you can for the offer that you've got. So you need to keep an eye on this on like a rolling average over a period of time. But typically if too many people are saying yes too quickly for months and months and months, you know your pricing is too cheap and you need to up it from there. And then the inverse of that, if you're getting a lot of no's and you've got a really good sales system and you've got marketing and you've got all this stuff dialed in, then you'll probably know it's a little bit too expensive for your ideal audience. But what you guys really need to think about here is like, are you going after rich or broke people in your marketing? And you have to price to their means. My first ever business coach would say this. He was like, who is the ideal client of your gym? And I would tell him, he was like, what's 10% of their income? That's what they would spend on fitness every month. And I was like, okay, that's a good like pricing identifier to understand going forward. Anything I missed with that?
Yeah, look, let's talk about this really quickly because, you know, Alex Hormozy talks about this a lot and he says, like, you should go after rich people and you should solve rich people problems. And, like, everyone's trying to solve rich people problems, right? It's like there is a market and we literally were chatting with Rach this morning.
Yeah.
You know, she goes after a broke market and there's nothing wrong with that. She's making 60, 70. She's on track this month. She'll make like $85,000 a month.
Yep.
From serving broke people. Like, broke people still have money. Like, I don't think that everybody should just try and serve rich people.
Yeah.
But I will say that the more disposable income your audience have, the easier, of course, it's going to be to get them to say yes. But that market is so much more sophisticated. They have seen every offer. They know exactly who your competitors are. They know exactly how much they're willing to spend, and they're going to do deep dives on your stuff, right? You can sell a broke market almost instantly. They'll just buy because they feel like it for the day. But if you're trying to sell a sophisticated market, they're doing heaps of research. They're throwing you up against your competitors. They're getting on every sales call with lots of different people. They might say yes faster, but they're going to be harder to sell. And so I don't think any market is easier, like broke or rich. I just think that there's more broke people. So you have you can play a volume game. There are less rich people. So you're going to need less of them and you can charge higher prices.
Yeah. All right, guys, if you want to fix your offer or you want some help on that, or you'd like some information about how we can help you grow a 50K a month coaching business, send us a DM on Instagram at RealTimFreo at Steph Gordon and DM us the word 50K. And that would be incredible to chat with you. And we'd love to open up that dialogue. If you guys are new around here, don't forget to leave a subscribe. That just shows that we're doing a good job with this podcast. And we would love to continue the growth. Until next Monday, guys, we'll see you soon.
See you soon.